Nigeria's electoral body releases final list of presidential candidates. Senegal mourns dozen killed in bush crash. And still on the foreign scene, Chinese COVID test workers clash with police. In Nigeria, the Independent National Electoral Commission has released a final list of presidential and National Assembly candidates of all the political parties contesting the February 25 election in Nigeria. The publication of the final list of candidates for national election, presidential, senatorial, and federal constituencies was portioned of the Section 32, subsection 1 of the Electoral Act 2022 and Item 8 of the timetable and schedule of activities for the 2023 general elections. The publication of the full names and addresses of all nominated candidates followed the conduct of primaries and completion of the nomination exercise by political parties. It was also sequel to the display of the personal particulars of all nominated candidates in their constituency nationwide as provided by Section 29, subsection 3 of the Electoral Act. The list published contained the names of candidates validly nominated for national election at the close of the party's primaries and the period earmarked for withdrawal and substitution of candidates. In another development, the Central Bank of Nigeria's policy on restriction on daily cash withdrawal takes off across the country today. Report has it that the arrangement, the maximum weekly limit for cash withdrawals across all channels by individuals and corporate organizations is now 500,000 and 5 million naira. Individuals and organizations that have a compelling need to withdraw above the approved limit to transact legitimate businesses will have to pay a processing fee of 3% and 5%. The financial institutions are also expected to obtain the information from the customers, the maximum and minimum upload same on the CBN portal created for the purpose. Earlier, report has it that the CBN ordered deposit money banks not to pay customers making over-the-counter withdrawals of new naira notes again. Senegalese President Mr. Macky Sall said 39 people were killed and more than 100 others injured when two buses crashed in a head-on collision overnight on an arterial road in Senegal's central Kaffrine region. Images of the incident shows the completely mangled front end of the white bus with blood-flecked seat, personal items and shoes strewn around the three-line crash site. Road accidents are common in Senegal largely because of driver error, poor roads and discreet vehicles, says expert. But the latest disaster has caused one of the heaviest losses of life from a single incident in recent years. Speaking to reporters, Mr. Sall corrected an earlier government statement that had put the death toll at 40, citing the miscount as a goal. The government has announced 3 days of national mourning beginning today, with flags to be flown at half-mast throughout the country. This is World at Noon, coming to you from Ocean State Broadcasting Corporation, Voice of the West Nigeria. Now our midday news message. Always strive to be humane. A survey of British manufacturers released today has found that the United Kingdom has become less competitive and less appealing to foreign investors amid swelling energy costs and recent political turmoil. The research by Make UK, the main trade body for British manufacturers, and the accountant PwC found 43% of UK manufacturers think the country has become less attractive to overseas investors. The proportion of manufacturers who see the UK as a competitive place for businesses has revolved from 60% a year ago to 31%. A survey of 235 companies were carried out in November shortly after the turmoil of Liz Truss's short-lived government. More than half of the companies Survive and Survey at the time said continuing political instability has damaged businesses' confidence. The study also found two-thirds of manufacturers expect to reduce their workforce and scale back output at the face of soaring energy costs. Video posted on social media showed workers clash with police at a COVID test kit factory in China. The protest started over the weekend after a sudden announcement of layoffs and dispute over wages of the southwestern city of Chongqing. Some videos were filmed at Zobile, the company specializing in intro-diagnostic reagent and equipment. China's end of its zero COVID policy has seen requirements for negative test results dropped across the country. Some videos suggest later at night some protesters threw chairs, crates, and traffic cones at a group of riot police deployed at the scene, forcing the officers to retreat. From Azerbaijan comes a report that 3 people were given help on the spot and 2 were hospitalized as a result of fire that broke at the Sadrak shopping center of Baku. According to information, 3 people received immediate medical help. Out of them, 1 had smoke poisoning, the second had an injury of their left hand, and the third had an acute reaction to stress. Moreover, 2 people were admitted to the toxicology department of the Clinical Medical Center with smoke poisoning. Baku City Emergency Medical Service at the Tabik received a call about the fire at the Sadrak shopping center in Baku's Garadag district. Deputy Minister of the Emergency Situation LG Eteba Mogzurov, the Fire Department of the State Fire Protection Service, and the corresponding forces of the Special Rescue Service, 4 ambulances were present at the scene. During the fire, police officers detained 2 people attempting a robbery at one of the facilities. Theft suspects were charged while the investigation is underway. And here again are the highlights of the world at noon. The Independent National Electoral Commission has released the final list of presidential and National Assembly candidates of all the political parties contesting February 25 election in Nigeria. Senegalese government has announced 3 days of national mourning beginning today, with flags to be flown at half-mast throughout the country to mourn dozens of killed in bush crash. And still on the foreign scene, video posted on social media have showed workers clash with police at a COVID test kit factory in China. And that was the news at noon. It was edited by Temitope Olayiwola and delivered by David Ojo. News Talk by Adeboye Popola examined the content of feminist campaign for emancipation and redemption of battered economy and political rights of Nigerian women and calls for a redirection of women activists of political education that will strengthen all women against mortgaging their future to politicians who dole out peanuts at the polling units.
Women activists and feminists brought to public platforms as the year 2022 was winding down their sentiments towards the political situation in the country, which has not accorded the rightful positions to women at the nation's political scene. A cross-section of feminists who are professionals in reputable fields and renowned entrepreneurs expressed disgust at gender imbalance in the distribution of political offices in the country, arising from dichotomy in the number of men and women political elites across the country. The feminist movement further took swipes against the male chauvinistic political ideology which has been promoting and championing men as more capable and immensely erudite than women in public administration in the country. The women political activists noted with serious concerns the plight of some women in the country whose lives are laborious and short for being denied of basic rights, which include access to quality healthcare facilities and denial of dignity of human person, as many women are held under servitude in marriage. The advocate of feminism stressed the need for a new legal regime that will address the doldrums of life by Nigerian women and scale up the efforts at actualizing the various international protocols and conventions for the protection of human rights of women, which the country is a signatory. It is quite axiomatic that Nigerian women are an archetype of a pariahdom due to a number of injustices they suffer despite their significant roles in the nation building. It is, however, apposite to note that women at times contribute to their social and economic woes. It goes without saying that some women laid the landmines that later consumed them in life. Women generally are fond of sacrificing dignity for grandiose living. Over the years, the quest for grandeur is the reason for hypergamy by some women who wantonly and recklessly abandoned job training or schooling in their primal youths and later become members of dancing train to politicians during political campaigns. The fact that some women hold their beliefs in corrupted achievements have made them lost dignity required for political offices and become errants that vote money-back politicians for peanuts. Such women are reasons for years of bad leadership and maladministration crippling the country's social and economic growth. It is important, therefore, that feminists understand the real source of women's backwardness in the country's political affairs. This makes it imperative to focus more on efforts at educating women on democracy and good governance as a panacea to women's social and economic stratification. Good governance is essential for efficient management of resources to the benefit of all. It is a platform for equal opportunities to every member irrespective of individual genders, creeds, or tribes. The opposite which the country has been witnessing is self-centered administration that allows profligacy and looting of public treasuries with impunity. Good governance is an observant of democratic norms, which include accountability, probity, and transparency by political office holders. The reason why women have been the worst hit is due to duplicitous of the larger population, which makes them fall prey to politicians' deceit. Now that the country is preparing to vote to constitute a new government, the advocates of feminism are to awake to awareness programs on the significance of good governance to feminist demands. The earlier the Nigerian women are brought to the knowledge of the dangers of collecting peanuts to mortgage their future to fraudulent politicians, the better for the emancipation of their economic and political rights in the country. It is a civic responsibility for all Nigerians to elect transparent and accountable leaders to political offices. Women are supposed to be the avant-gardes in performing this sacred duty for the recovery of their battered political rights. Women activists in the country are to open the inner consciousness of their members to the qualities to consider in choosing the candidates to vote for political offices in February general elections. News Talk posits that feminists should harp on the antecedents of the contestants as factors to consider by women in voting at the next election. The antecedents should read into their private and public lives, as well as their assessment of physical and intellectual fitness in relation to political offices that each of the contestants are vying to occupy.
That news talk by Adeboye Popola stressed the need for movement for feminism to build Nigerian women out of ignorance of collecting peanuts to mortgage their political and economic rights to politicians in the country. That piece was presented by Temitope Olayiwola. For more about us, visit www.osbcng.org. Thanks for listening and good afternoon.